Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Kyo. In this video I'm going to be doing a full run for Rice Shower using a budget slash free to play deck. So it's not a day one build since I do have this level 46 event speed card that everyone got for free in the first Musume event. So you obviously can't get a level 40 card on day one. Besides that, I have 3 level 1 SR supports, and I have a random level 25 power support as well here. So besides these 2 cards that are leveled, the rest of my cards are actually just level 1. So even though it's not a day 1 build, it's pretty close. I'm also rocking a level 50 Tazuna support card here. Since any account can get a level 50 support card for whatever they choose, I don't really consider this as breaking the free-to-play slash budget theme of the deck. If you don't know how to get a level 50 support card, just follow someone who has it, and you can use theirs for every one of yours. Yeah, maybe I can talk about it more. I can make a tips and tricks video if enough people care about it. But everyone should be using at least level 50 support card. And my favorite is Tazuna just because I think she's OP. So I forgot to record my inheritance choices, but I used 2 of my own, and they're okay. They're about 6 or 7 star stats, but you should be using rentals to get a free 9-star parent. And if you're not, then start doing that, especially if you're starting off and don't have many options for yourself. So even though I am using my own inheritances that do have a little bit of base stats already, I don't think it's that crazy since anyone can use a fully decked out rental unit. Alright, so this will be Rice Shower, considered to be one of the hardest Uma Musumes to train and complete. So it actually took me a lot of tries using R support cards, but I actually couldn't win with R supports. So in this run, I'm using SR supports. But SRs, even though you do technically have to roll for them, I'm not using like particularly good ones. I just picked out random ones that I haven't leveled up. And even if you roll the support banner a few times, you should be getting SR since you're guaranteed at least 1 SR card from every 10 roll you do. So enough talking, we can go into the run here. So I did pick out inheritance that gave me Mile B rather than the default C, but that's not really important in the grand scheme of things. So since I am using a triple power deck, my main priorities are going to be speed, power, and int. And then I'll take stamina and guts a couple of times throughout this run, just when the supports are when I'm able to charge up some support cards. Other than that, I mainly prioritize speed and power. And I can talk about my deck in a guide video sometime later, but I think for beginners, 1 speed, 3 power, 1 int plus Tazuna support is good on pretty much everyone. So right off the bat, I see Tazuna on power on day 1, so I take Tazuna. And of course, she gives you the free mood up the first time you pick her. Next day, I see triple support on Guts. So Guts isn't great, but it's a Tazuna, so, you know, Tazuna, she's pretty OP, mainly because she saves your energy. She gives you a refund on each energy you choose, and you get boosted stats. So even though it's Guts, I'm not too sad about it. So right here, I'm choosing Stamina. I just said I wasn't prioritizing Stamina or Guts, but when you see 3 bond supports and nothing else is great, you might as well go. Alright, so I get a 7% training fail right here, which is incredibly unlucky, and I also get bad practice. So this is just to show that you don't need perfect luck to win a run, especially a rice shower run. As long as you play solidly, it's fine. The beginning, you really want to focus on charging your bonds. And if it's on speed and power, that's even better. But whenever you see the ability to charge up 3 support bonds, I'm always going to take it, especially when there's no better options. Right now, I'm searching up the event choices here, since like I said, I've never used this card before. I don't know how the event works. And if you don't know how to search up the event, there's a website for that. And maybe I can talk about it in my guide video sometime later, but you should be using the event search if you know basic hiragana and katakanas. So in the early year 1 stage, you should almost always choose the training that charges the most bonds, since and I got lazy for this one. I chose the wrong one because I didn't remember, and it ended up being a guts event, but it's whatever. But like as I was saying, in the early years, you want to charge up your support bonds as fast as you can, and ideally you want to hit a lot of them to be rainbow status by your first beach, because beach will give you a ton of stats. And a big reason of why low-level supports are so hard to win with is because their initial bond is so low. So it takes longer to charge them up to rainbow, and they also give less stats. So leveling up your bonds is actually a huge factor. Right here I see 4 supports and guts. So even though it's guts and I'm not super happy about it, charging 4 supports is almost an always pick, even if it's in guts, which is the worst stat. And right here, I keep having to choose stamina and guts because I see triple supports, and then when Tazuna is also there, you might as well always pick it at that point. So decisions aren't too hard. It's just picking the training that gives the most supports. And when there's nothing available, you just choose whatever is best. Such as if Tazuna is on there, or if it's speed or power. I also prioritize those a little more. So right here, I'm super happy to see the Tazuna date event proc right before month 12, which is when you get a bonus energy event if your Tazuna has procced. So that's why I try to focus on the Tazuna trainings early, so that I have a better chance of getting the month 12 proc, or the proper for month 12. So I'm looking for the G1, the medium distance G1, and I see that I don't actually have the fans required. So my goal is to race on that G1 because of the fan count. So I'm going to do a G3 race right here, medium range, just to get my fan count high enough so I can partake in that medium distance G1. For events, I always choose option 2 just because I think it's better. And G1 is the next day. So I'll just do an int training to pass the turn while charging up 2 supports. And G1 time. So there's a lot of checkpoints in the game, not checkpoints, so benchmarks that you have to hit for fan count. And having fans lets you proc the events, and they also boost your ult skill. So I am going to try to level up my ult by getting some fans, especially in year 2. right here I'm looking up the event since I still haven't memorized all of the character specific events. And I picked the one that gives stamina. So for events we have a choice. My priorities are stamina, then speed, then power, int, and finally guts. Guts, which is useless basically. But above all of that, I prioritize energy regen. So if there's an option that recharges my energy or gives stats, I'm almost always going to pick the choice that gives energy regen. So right here I'm deciding between speed and power, and they're pretty equal. I'm not really sure which one's better, but I decided to do speed just to get that special weak bond into the rainbow status. I get charming here, which is actually pretty lucky for a random event. Even though I chose the wrong one, I chose the one that gave guts. I was too lazy to look it up. I'm happy to see this Tazuna mini event, and for this race I'm just going to spend some of my skill points just so I have a better chance of getting first places, because getting first places gives you bonus stats, and it can save some energy if you win the race. So I ended up getting second, which is okay. It's a mile race, and I only have a B in mile, so that puts Rice Shower at a slight disadvantage, but it's not a big deal. It was only a G2 race. I think it's the only required mile run in her entire route. So first inheritance, I get some okay stats, but I get these 2 stamina recharge stats, which actually it's pretty lucky. Since I believe I do take both of those skills later. So here there's 37%, which isn't great. I'm not going to take a 37% chance. I see there's any G1s to take, but there isn't, so I'll just go for a rest. It's just a little bit more training. I take the Tazuna when I get the chance. And Japan Derby. So this race is actually pretty hard if you don't have enough stamina, but I think at this point my stamina is at a pretty decent place, especially because I ended up doing some stamina training early. So stamina training actually isn't that bad early, even though the secondary stat is guts. And guts, like I mentioned, pretty useless stat. Triple support and power, it was a 7% chance, but honestly I don't even blink if it's under 15%. $70 region and rest right before beach is pretty clutch, I'd have to say. My beach luck this run actually wasn't really that great, because I wasn't able to get all my supports into rainbow territory. But even so, I make the best of it. Whenever I see that there's no great options on the beach, I will go int just to kind of pass my turn and regen a little bit of my energy back. So even though I have 3 power cards, it's unlucky that there's only single rainbows on the beach. In some of my other runs where I'm actually trying to get high scores, it's pretty common to see double or triple rainbows on the beach with my triple power build. Pretty good training there. A Tazuna plus a rainbow. You always like to see that. So the reason I prioritize stamina so much is because I run 0 stamina cards, but stamina is the biggest killer of runs if you don't have enough of it. So the triple power build, the idea of it is you get 2 good stats with power training, which is both power and stamina. So even though you get less stamina, I supplement it by using stamina events. So I choose stamina every chance I get, just so I get enough stamina to last on some of the longer races. Also, I prioritize stamina skills above basically anything else, since if you don't have enough stamina, your run is basically dead, and it's really hard to get enough stamina with low-leveled support cards. So right here, that's an event that you get if you have 50k fans, which is why those optional G1s I did earlier were so important. It gives you nice imp boost and it gives you a stamina skill. Even though the stamina skill isn't that great, you can still use it if you have no better skills available. So I see an optional G1 here. The ones that give 30k fans are really great to pick up, and you should try to grab them when you can. Honestly, I was a little surprised I won this one, since I didn't think my stats were that great at this time. But I'm not complaining. Alright, so it's the shrine visit. I always take the energy if I'm not capped out on energy. And my New Year's gacha pool is happening now. I get a big pile of carrots, which is really great to see. The third best option you can get there. I check for G1 races since I'm not really happy about my options here. Since there isn't any G1s, I just choose the option that charges 3 support cards. So whenever there's no great options, I would check for G1s, since G1s are great for inheritance skills. But that's not something you really have to worry about as someone who's starting off. Double rainbow here, it's pretty nice to see. Looking up this event since not exactly sure what it gives. I think either option is not really that consequential. So checking if I can spend any skills. I see there's a blue leader skill, which means a stamina recovery skill. So I'm just saving up to get that one. So somehow I'm still winning these races. But I guess my stamina skills are really carrying me here. So it's time for the second batch of inheritance. And I get one trait, which is a yellow skill. Unideal, but it's whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Because I'm not using great inheritances. They're kind of, I picked like mediocre ones, or like ones that were just okay. I didn't really put too much thought into it. But of course, if I were using a try-hard run, I would pick my best skills to pass down. I kind of just picked at random for this run. So I see a blue skill. It's for leader. It's Rice Shower as a leader. It's a good skill to pick up. Alright, so still I'm winning these races. I didn't really do anything spectacular this run. I mean, I had that early training fail, which is actually pretty unlucky. It was a 7% fail, I think. I did get lucky for the New Year's pool, which I got the pile of carrots. But other than that, my run hasn't been extremely lucky or any of the sort. I'm using my Tazuna Dit here just to boost my mood a bit. which is one of Tazuna's support's many strengths. Peach is in 2 turns, so I take a Rainbow Speed, and then the race, the story race right before, and it still should give me a good amount of energy going into the beach. So one more race left, the Arima Keenan. Is it Keenan or Kynan? I assume it's Arima Keenan. So this big bad scary race in Rice Shower's route. So now I'm pumping up some stamina when I can. I take a risky power training, but it ends up passing, which is great. Right here, my energy is too low to do anything, so I take a rest and a final power rainbow on the beach. So not a great beach. It was just single powers, or I mean not single powers, single rainbows, a rest, all unideal, but you don't need extremely good luck to win a run. You just need to play solidly. So right here, I'm trying to get my Tazna to date 3 so I can get the mood back up to max. So I use up my date 2 just as an energy regain, since there wasn't any other better option at the time. I'm looking up this special week skill event since I don't really use this card that much. I have a few better ones. And right here, there's no good trading options, so I say, oh, might as well just do a random G2 race since there's no better options. So pick the medium distance one. I win it by a pretty good chunk. And it rewards me by giving me a mood increase. So now I don't even have to use my Tazuna date to raise the mood since that G2 race did it for me. So that was a really nice get. Again, my trainings aren't crazy. Like on my normal runs, I'd go for double rainbows, triple rainbows. But here it's fine. I'm using my third Tazuna date here as just a increased energy regen, since the run is almost over and Tazuna dates are better than resting, or at least dates 4 and 5 are better than resting because they give you a lot of skill points as well as skills in the case of date 5. A double rainbow here just to boost my power a little bit, since as a leader you actually do need a pretty good amount of power. I grabbed the blue gold stamina skill because I'm scared of my stamina running out. Then I take a long distance orange skill since I'm scared of this race. I try to do everything I can just to pass. I get 11th on my first run, so that's not great, but I think it could have just been bad luck. So just to make sure my Rice Shower isn't just choking randomly from stats, I decided to spectate my second run just to see what the issue is. If it's a power issue, am I being blocked in, or am I just running out of stamina near the end? Just to see what went wrong with that first race, since 11th is generally a sign of something catastrophic happening, such as being boxed in the last stretch or running out of stamina completely. So I'm watching this run, and my Rice Shower is a pretty big, a pretty sizable chunk behind McQueen. So her ult pops, but I think the race is so close to ending. Yeah, so the race just ended. I didn't even get the full speed boost since it ended in the middle of the animation. I get second, which means that the first race I did where I got 11th was probably a power issue. So my third try, I do manage to get first. Yeah, so the reason I got 11th was probably because I just got boxed in, and my power right now isn't really that great, which is why I got boxed in. So right here, I'm doing a power training. It's pretty crazy to think that even with 3 power cards, my power is still on the low side. So I think this build is actually pretty good for Rice Shower since it gives you the power you need and the stamina for the longer races. So my URA ends up being medium distance since I did some medium optional races. The first one isn't scary. You should almost always be able to win the first URA if you've already won your story race, which is harder than the first URA. So I use my date 4 here for an energy recharge since you can't do any optional races and training. You would just fail your training. So right now, I'm a little scared about the second URA race since the second URA race is generally a little harder than the last race on our story mission. So since I barely was able to win the story mission, I want to see how close I am at least to winning the second URA race. So right off the bat, I noticed that I'm boxed out in the middle section. I'm in the back of the leader pack, which isn't good. So it's going to be hard to pass through everyone in this final stretch. Right here, like you can see, I'm in the middle of this box, so I'm unable to pass them, and my speed is capped. So I came in the back of that pack, mainly because my power wasn't high enough. So I think this is my last clock. So going from here on, I have to win second and third race first try. This might be my last clock, I don't remember. I used 2 on the Arima Keenan, and then I used a third one here for this URA race 2. So from what I'm looking at, my position's a little better in this race. I'm not in the back of the leader pack, I'm more in the middle. So right here, I'm hoping to break out of it. But I'm still a pretty sizable distance back from the lead. So right here, I'm thinking that the run might be over. But she does start catching up, which means my stamina is pretty good. And my ult pops here. So this is just good news bears. And my skills are popping like crazy here. And I end up just breaking away by a decent chunk. So good job, Rice Shower. I give her some head pats because it increases her motivation. And now for the big bad URA 3 race. Hardest race of the run. I'm feeling okay since I ended up winning race 2 by a little bit. I take a triple support speed here. Even though there's no rainbow, it was still the best option. At this point, you might as well just go for raw stats. So I'm trying to spend my last bit of skill points here. And I'm intentionally not taking the leader skill at the bottom because it requires you to level up Rice Shower to level 3. And since this is supposed to be a budget / free-to-play guide, I'm not leveling up that gold leader skill. And even then, it's not that hard to level your horse to 3. It doesn't take whaling, you just need a lot of gold. So URA 3, I don't have any clocks left at this point, so I'm just hoping for Rice Shower to somehow pull through. She's in the back of the leader pack right now, which is a little scary since my power isn't that high to begin with. But the race could go either way. I'm not speeding it up here since this is the last race of the run, and regardless of win or lose, you might as well see the fruits of your training pay out here. My gold stamina skill pops in the middle, which is great. Gold stamina skills I value very highly, especially for long distance runners. You don't really need them for short distance, but for Rice Shower and McQueen, I'm almost always going to take them. So about to go in the final stretch here. I'm still in the back of the pack, so my hopes are a little my expectations are a little low here. But who knows? Maybe she'll somehow pull out a miracle. Entering the final stretch here in 6th place, which isn't great. Okay, I actually made that 8th place. So at this point, I'm hanging the towel. It looks like I ran out of stamina or something. She's behind a whole bunch of horses. But here she is. She starts speeding up here. And her ult pops. Her level 4 ult. So she's blasting off at this point. She's made it to 2nd. She's neck and neck for 1st. And at this point, it could be anyone. And Gold Ship ends up being Gold Ship ends up catching up, but Rice Shower, she ends up winning the race. So was extremely close finish. Her ult being level 4, I think made the difference. So that's why optional G1s are important. So if you see G1s and you have no better trainings available, you should take those G1 races. I win by 1 unit compared to Gold Ship. But anyways, a win is a win. Besides, this is a win where half of my deck are level 1 support cards. So it's kind of a miracle that I ended up winning the first place, especially because I didn't think my luck was that phenomenal. I did pass some 10% and 15% trainings, but I also failed with 7% training. So it's not that my luck was great either. You just have to play solidly and do the best choices that are given to you for each day. So I can give maybe I'll make a video just to give my opinions on how to best train a horse. Yeah, basically it sums down to leveling up your bonds as soon as you can, and when there's no better trainings, of course I get 1-star guts here because I feel like 1-star guts you get like 60 or 70% of the time. Most of my horses are 1-star guts. But as I was saying, if there's no good trainings, do some optional G1s since they give you a huge fan increase. If you're kind of in the mid or late stage of your Musume career, G1s also give you good inheritance bonuses or the chance to pass down really good inheritance traits. So when you're a PvP min-maxer, you're going to want to spam G1s, but that's not really the point of this video. This video is just to show that you can win a Rice Shower run even with a very limited resources at your disposal. And having a deck of SR supports isn't really that great. The SSR card I have was a free card that was given to everyone who partook in the first event, and it's not even that great of a card. There's many other cards better than that. So it's not that crazy. But yeah, that's my Rice Shower full run completed with a very limited support deck. So obviously my points are going to be much lower compared to my other runs. Here you can see some of the other horse runs I've done with a couple of 10k Rice Shower runs. But even for those decks or for those runs, I still used a 1-speed 3-power deck. which I think is just all around really good. Mainly because stamina cards I think are bad because they give you guts, and guts is a useless stat. Anyways, thanks for watching this entire run. I think that anyone can complete runs for any horse as long as you have good decision making. Although it will be hard, you will need clocks since clocks are your mitigator against unlucky races. But yeah, keep leveling up your support cards. These days, I almost never use clocks because I end up winning races all the time because my stats are so high from inheritances and rainbow trainings. But yeah, you should focus on support cards if you're having trouble with races, with training runs, or just reevaluate how you do your training sessions. Like you saw, that level 4 ult popping for the last 2 URA runs is what I think made the difference. If it was level 1, there's a pretty good chance I would have lost those races. So having those optional races increase your fan count to level your ult is a pretty good thing to aim for. Anyways, this video has gone long enough. I'm considering making this a series where I just do full runs and give my decision process if people are interested in it. I'm not the best Musume player in the world, but I really do love this game and it's really fun to play. If you like it, please let me know. Give me your critique or feedback in the comments if you care about it. But yeah, it's a low budget rice shower full run completion. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you next time, whenever that may be.